You may or may not be aware of this at this point in your life, but comparing yourself with other people is a way of causing yourself a great deal of pain and confusion. Comparison of two things does not bring about an understanding of either one of those things. Comparison of two things brings about a third thing, a concept of yourself based in comparison with another person. So you can't understand yourself at all by comparing yourself to somebody else. All you end up with there is, based on the comparison with them, you have a view of yourself born out of that comparison. For example, if you happen to be a heavily built person and you compare yourself with a more heavily built person, you might think you're slim. But if you compare yourself with a slimmer person, you might think you're fat. So comparison is really just a third outcome from the two things that you're comparing in the first place, and are not giving you any understanding of the facts at all. So comparison is a way of creating complete self-ignorance and confusion. It doesn't give you a real sense of yourself or a real understanding of yourself at all, and it certainly distorts your perception of yourself, how you already are, and this is not helpful. Because generally the distortion of that perception of yourself, all these thoughts you create about yourself out of your comparison of yourself with other people, are not helpful, they're harmful. Why are you comparing yourself with other people in the first place? Because you feel insecure about the way you already are, or you feel unsure about being the way you are and how you should be, how you should behave. You're trying to learn that from looking to other people, looking to other information outside of you to tell you how to be, how to behave, how you should be, how you should look, how you should think, how you should speak, how you should act. And this is just crazy. This has not actually got anything to do with what you already know inherently to do. And that is the expression of you, which is however you think, however you speak, however you act, is an expression coming from however it really is to be you on any given day in your life. And that is the real authentic expression of you, and anything that you've developed by looking to other people is just a copy. So you see how other people are behaving and you try and copy that. You think you're learning from them? Well, not really. You can't learn how to be you. You can only be you and discover what it is to be you as you're being you. So from the day you're born to the day you die, you are coming into an expression of a new and different you every single day of your life. You can't see it so clearly from one day to the next, but look at yourself from 1 year to the next, or 1 decade to the next, and you'll see there's something that you can see clearly there, is that you are expressing yourself as a different person over the course of a year, over the course of a decade, over the course of your lifetime. You have expressed yourselves as many different people. The expression of you when you were 5 years old was certainly very different to the expression of you after you went through puberty and became sexually involved with other people, which is again very different to you when you hit 30 or 40 or 50, or then when you became older, around 60 or 70 or 80 years old. You are expressing a very different person there in all of those cases. And they are the expression of whatever state you were in at that point in your life. And that's not something you can figure out and copy. That's something you're just going to have to do. You've got no choice over that. Yeah, you've got no choice at all in how it is to express you. How it is to express you, the authentic you, is not something you can choose to do. That is only something you can do. It comes out of you as the expression of you. This is beyond your choice. What you choose to do is fabrication. What you choose to do through comparing yourself with other people, through copying other people, through imitating this person or imitating that person, all you're doing there is creating a thought construct, an idea of yourself, a pretense of yourself, a persona of yourself that you are then presenting to the world. But you were just copying someone else and other people or other things to do this, and it's not really you. It's not an expression of you. It's an expression of whoever you copied. and they're probably copied someone else. So it's not even an expression of whoever you've copied. It's an expression of copy of a copy of a copy, and you end up with a cardboard cutout of yourself that you present to the world that's got no expression of you in it at all. So your thoughts, words, and actions become fairly meaningless. What is the meaning in your words, in your actions? The meaning in that is when the meaning of you shines through that, when the existence and the expression of what you really are shines through, comes through in your words, in your actions, and in your life, then you start to see what thoughts, words, and actions and the expression of yourself into the world really is. But until you're in touch with yourself, you are not able to do this. If you're not in touch with yourself, what's happening is you get lost in thoughts about others. You get lost in thoughts about yourself even. Thoughts about yourself are not really thoughts about yourself. Where did you learn to think about yourself? You learned to think about yourself from what other people have told you to think, taught you to think. If you've been brought up in a particular religion, then you think those thoughts. If you've been brought up as an American or an Australian or an Estonian or a Swede, whatever you've been brought up as, you think particular thoughts that are typical of that particular environment, and you're just a copy of the people in that environment. You're still not yourself. You're still not yourself. Because yourself is not an American or an Australian. Yourself is not a Norwegian. Yourself is a physical, living organism that has no origin other than itself. That other than itself. What is it to be you is only going to be discovered from what it is being you. And being you is only going to be discovered when you can drop away from all the thoughts and ideas that you have accumulated and made up and invented about yourself through your comparison with yourself, through your imitation of what you compare yourself with, and then the imitation that you become as a result of that, to try and be something that you think you should be or probably can't be but could be. And how confusing is all that? Yeah. None of that's real. None of that's going to fulfill you. And you know what? It's not going to satisfy anybody else in your life either. It's too hollow. You're not yourself. If you want to live a full and meaningful life, you've got to be yourself in this life. If you're not being yourself, if you're just being a copy of some other person or some other group or your own generation or old people or young people, whatever you're mimicking, whatever you're copying, you're being lost in that copy. You're not there. You're gone. You're lost. You're not showing yourself at all. You got to show yourself in this world. How are you going to show yourself in this world? First, you got to be yourself. Being yourself is not what you think about yourself. Being yourself means you have to come back into the felt sense of you in the body and begin there. Begin with the feeling of what it is to be you. Now, you can't compare your feeling with somebody else's feeling. Your feeling is real to you. If you're feeling sad, comparing that sadness to somebody else's sadness is not going to help you understand your sadness or be more sad or be more of you, is it? It's irrelevant. When you come back to the feeling level of you, you don't go around comparing yourself to people. I'm sad, I'm upset, I'm happy, I'm confident. Is that the result of comparing anything with anyone? Of course not. Anything that comes through comparison is only the superficiality of the thoughts that you've come up with as a result of comparing two things or comparing yourself with another person. And comparing yourself with another person inevitably makes you dissatisfied with yourself or dissatisfied with them. So you either end up an ego tripper or you end up an insecure little person who just can't really come into the full expression of themselves in the world. So comparing yourself to make yourself feel better than another person it's a sickness actually. It's a way of putting other people down to make you feel better. But comparing yourself to people that you admire, that you see greater than yourself, this is a way of putting yourself down and making them feel better in your own eyes. But it doesn't do anything for them. This is a social sickness. Yeah, no human being is better than another human being, because they are incomparable. Every human being is unique. Every human being was born absolutely unique. You look at the physicality of any human being, and that's when you understand what you're dealing with. When you look at the thoughts of a human being, you're not dealing with that human being anymore. You're dealing with a socially constructed concept that everybody is copying and repeating as their own thoughts. That is not an individual. That is not a you. That is something really weird that's been added to the human being called thinking, and learning how to think about yourself and learning how to dress yourself up in that image of yourself that you then present to the world. But you weren't born that way, and the only way to really understand the authenticity of you is to come back to the part of you, the only aspect of you that is really you, and that's not your thinking. That is not the things you think. That is not how you think about yourself. That is what it is to be you as a living, breathing body. What you are as a man or a woman, a girl or a boy, what you are as a human being, as a living person, as a living organism. That was what you were born as, and when you were born, you were only a baby when you're born, but you were unique. You were something different to every other baby on the planet, and you are still unique. It's just that by inventing all these concepts about ourselves and trying to be a person according to society, we have completely lost our uniqueness and homogenized ourselves into copies of one another. And the unique individuals that we were born to be, and we actually still are, has been covered over by all this nonsense that we've learned to think, and all this comparison with one another to try and be like each other. What do we want to be like each other for? What do you want to be like somebody else for? Be yourself. You don't want to be like someone else. Being someone else is not being you, and not being you is not going to be fulfilling of you. And you not being you but being like someone else is not going to be attractive to someone else. Yeah? If I'm with someone, I want to be with a person who's really them. I want you to be yourself if you're with me. If I have a friend, I want that friend to be themselves. I don't want them to carry on like someone else, yeah, to copy and act out somebody else. I want them to be themselves. Then I have something of substance. Then I have something of value. Then I have something unique in my friend. And I need to be myself in order to feel valuable in myself. In order to know my own value, to know my own worth, I have to know my own self. And my own self is not made of thoughts. It's made of flesh and blood and bones and nerves and sensations. That is my own self. So to really understand yourself and what it is to be you, you have to come back to the absolute basics of the origins of you as a living, breathing, thinking, feeling, throbbing organism. The life of you. And what's that like? You don't even really know what that's like. You don't need to know what that's like. You just need to be in the sense of it, in the sense of yourself, in the feeling of yourself. And whatever that feeling of yourself is, that feeling, you can be sure, only you know the feeling of. No one else knows what it feels like to be you. They only know what it feels like to be them. And we are all uniquely feeling a very unique and specific person. And that's the one that we are, a unique individual. You are what it feels like to be you at any given moment. You are the living, breathing organism of you and the sensations of that. You are not the thoughts of you. The thoughts are not you. The thoughts are only mechanical things that we use to interact. But you cannot actually express yourself through a thought, and by comparing yourself with other people, you are thinking about yourself and thinking about them and coming up with a third group of thoughts, which you then try and impose on yourself and act out in the world to try and be somehow similar to everybody else. You don't need to do that. That is going to keep you empty, shallow, and actually that's going to prevent you from actually discovering for and from yourself the meaning of what it is to be alive, the purpose of you being alive, the significance of you existing is not to copy other people and to compare yourself with other people. The significance of you existing is a lot deeper than that. There's a lot more substance in that. The significance of you being alive is going to show itself automatically and authentically coming out of you from the beginning of your life through each and every part of your life, through every day in your life, all the way through the end of your life. And none of that is within your control. And none of that is the creation of your ideas or anybody else's ideas about you. That is creating itself, coming into existence, coming into expression each and every moment of your life. And that's what it is to be you. And you can only find that in the felt, physical sense of you in the body. What's it like to be you right now? And right now, it will just be a feeling, something fairly unfamiliar. You won't recognize it. It won't be something you're used to. And that's because each and every moment of your life, something new about you is happening. Something new from you is happening. So you don't ever really know you. It never becomes familiar. It's always an interesting discovery to just be you and to continue being you until the day you die. You will never get bored with being you. You only get bored with what you invent about yourself and then repeat over and over and over to fit in with the society that you live in. And that repetition is boring. That repetition is dull, and that repetition is empty. And it's boring for other people, it's boring for yourself, and it's just not real. But what you are and what is coming into expression as you each and every day is incomparable. You cannot compare yourself with another person and discover yourself in that. You totally lose yourself in that delusional state of comparing yourself with other people. You're just in a hurry. Stop being in such a hurry to be someone. You are someone. You are you, and there's nobody else in the world like you. And if you try and compare that with someone else, you're only doing that because you haven't gone deep enough and been long enough in the presence of you to value that for what it is, to know that for what it is, and to be that in your daily expression of you. So stop comparing yourself with other people. There is no value in that. That is not about you. They are not you. They feel how it feels to be them. You feel how it feels to be you. You don't know how it feels to be them. They don't know how it feels to be you. That's the unique thing about you. And the unique thing about me is I only know what it's like to be me. And you only know what it's like to be you. Because knowing what it's like to be you is not a thinking process. It's a felt process. It's the feeling of you today. And that's new every single day of your life. So for the rest of your life, you're going to be discovering what it is to be you and forgetting what it was to be you in the next moment, only to discover what it is to be you anew all over again. So your life will never become boring. Your life will always be a constant discovery of you. Thanks for listening. If you enjoyed this content, press the subscribe button, hit the like button, and if you want to take it further, you should check out the Undo app, my meditation app. This is a guidance to educate you in dropping all of the influences that have taken you away from being you, and it's helping you, guiding you in the discovery of what it is to really live as you. It's going to show you how to get that from you. I'm not teaching you anything in that app. I'm showing you how to get from yourself what it is to really be you. So check it out.